introduce yourself as well?
Hi, you said something, I couldn't hear you.
Yes. I was saying that we're just beginning the session. Wanted to ask if you could please just introduce yourself, and then we can get started.
Oh, hi. My name is Shange. I am currently doing my second year of internship at Addington Hospital here in Durban.
Okay. Thank you very much for availing yourselves for the session and for giving us this information that we very much need. So I'm just going to go right into it. So the first question that we'd like to know is work environment. We would like to know things like, what are the rotations like? What are the hours like? What are the calls like? I think to kind of make it easier, if Dr. Singh, you could possibly tell us specifically about first year, and then Dr. Shange, you can tell us about second year, but feel free to bounce off each other and add where you feel the need.
Okay, cool. Addington Hospital is a 471-bed hospital. It's in South Beach, so it's in between Ushaka and Suncoast. You have all your amenities available, but specifically about the first year rotations, I started first with pediatrics. Every Monday to Friday for the first month, we had teaching. So there was a 1 hour lesson from 8 to 9, and we were taught a lot of information, especially things about ETAT, common conditions, and things like that. Our assessment in the block was a PowerPoint presentation that we had to prepare. I don't think every group had the opportunity to present because we started to get very busy, but it was something we had to compile and hand in. The wards specifically are divided into, we have our 9B, which is our high care and low care, and our KMC. We have our postnatal ward, and we have our main pediatric ward. Our calls initially, because we had just started and we never did calls before, we were starting at 2 per day. We were a group of 10 at that point. And then eventually, as people became more confident, we ended up becoming 1 on call per day from Monday to Thursday. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday were two on call a day. And it was helpful because you're working in casualty and you still have the wards to take care of. Number of calls depended on the number of interns. So in the blocks where we had about 10 interns and we were 1 on call, we would do about 5 or 6 calls a month. And I think that's about how much it is right now. In other rotations like obs and gynae, where we need 2 people on call a day, yeah, the number of calls increased by a lot. We sometimes are doing 8, 9, 10 calls depending on whether or not you were going on leave. Post call at pediatrics is 8 a.m. and 8 a.m. sharp. So once you're done with your call, you go home. Exposure wise, it was fair exposure. If you wanted to learn things like arterial lines and things like that, then probably spending more time in our high care and low care would have been more helpful. I think it depends on what you were interested in. So if you had the motivation and were interested in pediatrics, you could have gone to the senior MOs and the registrars and asked them to show you more procedures. The second rotation was surgery. At the point when I was doing surgery, we had a shortage of MOs and consultants, and we were on divert. So, which means that we were not always receiving cases from the other hospitals every day. So, on days when we were on a full call, when a consultant was on call, we'd have 2 interns on call. On days when we were on divert or where we didn't have a consultant on, then we were just 1 intern on call a day. Friday, Saturday, Sundays, always 2 interns. We mainly divided between casualty, trauma, and the wards. And it was very helpful. I think we got a fair amount of exposure to the traumatic head injuries and cellulitis, abscesses, and things like that. Theater-wise, though, I think you had to make extra effort. So if you were post-call on a day at 8 a.m., no one like you could have taken the opportunity to go to theater, but it had to be on your own terms. A lot of the time, there was no time unless you were on call and there was a case going on and your senior needed assistance. Teaching wise, from 7:30 till 8, our head of clinical unit, he used to give us teaching. We never did exams in that block. Our wards, we had 2 male wards and 1 female ward. Calls, again, about 6 calls. Post call, 8 a.m. sharp, except on weekends when you had to wait for the consultant ward round. That depends on what time the consultants come. Some of them are there at 8 a.m. sharp. Some people come at 7. Some people come at 10. So your post call gets shifted depending on that. And exposure totally depends on you. We had a soft tissue clinic. We had access to theater, but it was not something we were able to do all the time because of the numbers. The number of interns were short. The next block was internal medicine, and I think internal medicine is a universal experience for everyone. Just as the previous doctor presented internal medicine, it's pretty much the same. Our calls are divided between ward cover, so you were there until midnight or 11 p.m., and we had the person who was covering casualty, and they would cover wards after midnight. You would be on call with your MO, and that was pretty much it. So you always had 2 interns on call, and the ward cover would leave at 11 p.m., and then the next intern will continue throughout the night. Post call, so if you were ward cover and your shift ended at 11 p.m., you did not get a post call. You come back at 8 a.m. for work the next day. But if you were the intern who worked the entire night, then your post call your post call is at 12. So you can do as much of the ward work as you can. And yeah, exposure wise, I think this is a bit of a difficult question to answer because a lot of it across all hospitals is the bulk of ward work and having to get those things done. And the volume of patients shift quite often. You have a lot of patients coming in and getting discharged, and it is a bit difficult. So I think exposure-wise also depended on the doctor you were with. There were some doctors who really enjoyed teaching. We had intern-led presentations. It was 2 on a team, and they gave us topics. So some groups had common topics like CCF, DKA, and whatever. But as the year progressed, then the topics change as well. So to keep the seniors interested. So we had topics like lymphoma and leukemia and arthritis. So it also just depends. My next rotation was obs and gynae. Obs and gynae, we have our labor ward, antenatal ward, our postnatal ward, and our gynae ward. The calls for this, we also divided. So there was 1 intern who was on gynae call, which also ended at midnight. And the obs call started at 4 p.m. and ended at 8 a.m. the next morning. But actually not really 8 a.m. because you had to present all the cases and all the Caesars that you would have seen in the night before. So there's always a big catch-up session the next day. So the gynae person has to present all the gynae cases that they admitted, and the obs person will present all the Caesars that were done. And that includes presenting the CTGs and the reason for cutting and whether or not there was a live birth and things like that. Number of calls in obs and gynae, it went up drastically because now we were 2 people on call every day. So sometimes it was like 10 calls a month, sometimes 8 calls a month. It was just depending. And because the hours kept increasing, they changed our calls for gynae. Instead of a 24-hour call, we ended up shifting to a midnight call. Post call for both people end at 12. So the gynae intern on call will come back, join you, and help you with the postnatal ward round. Exposure-wise, we didn't have much exposure to gynae theater. Actually, no exposure to gynae theater, but obs theater, we did do a lot. Sorry, I meant evacs. Oh, I guess gynae exposure was evacs. So things like cyst removal and ovarian issues and stuff like that, we were not involved in, but we did evacs and we were involved in cutting of Caesars. This was a difficult block. A lot of people didn't pass this block. There was always um, the doctor was very strict. She had very high standards for what she wanted from her interns. Um, but yeah, you could there's some who had to repeat 1 month, some repeating 3 months. There are no exams in this block either. But the teaching was 1 day a week. We'd get ESMO training, which is obstetric emergency training. And yeah, so that was first year in a nutshell.
Mm.
Thank you.
So
Sorry. Yes. Go ahead, please.
yeah, some of the blogs we experienced differently because Pooja, her group was following mine in rotations. So most of the things would change um, from the other group's experiences during the blog. Like for example, the short gynae call, we never had that. They needed both of us for 24 hours. So yeah, and we were, I think, only 8 interns in my group for obs and gynae, but it was 7.5. You know what I mean? So that also made our rotation just horrible, horrible. Like the hours amongst other things. But I would say obs and gynae is the one block at Addington where I felt like I am ready for ComServe because they were teaching. It wasn't only even like when they're doing ESMOs and stuff, even during the presentation in the morning, like you'd actually learn a lot during those morning meetings. And Pucha is right, very strict. She seems like she's very calm, very understanding, and she listens, but like there were people where you see that, man, I mean, at this point people were just asking for it, but like it was a very lovely working environment. Otherwise the seniors were nice, even the consultants were also nice. Like there was no, this toxic energy that some of the consultants carry because they are the most senior. I never felt that even once. With the other blogs, we had similar experiences. I started with surgery. Still grateful for diverts because for before we'd only be on intake every 4 days. The other days we divert patients to Mshieni, King Edward, RK Khan. So we were forever grateful for that because we didn't work that much. Um, Other blogs, PEDS is following obs and gynae with the teachings. I learned a lot in PEDS. It was even my favorite rotation of first year. And internal medicine, just like everybody, it was just ward work, nothing else, just that. You'd be you'd come in the morning, you finishing off what work from the previous day, you get another badge, you leave at 6 sometimes. Like it was just bad. I don't know how they're having it this year. It would have been nice to have a first day to just share their experience because their numbers drastically reduced as well. So it's a whole mess. Yeah. So for second year, there are 4 blocks. Um, one long block, which is family medicine, and 3 short blocks, which is psych, autos, and anesthetics. So half of the group does family medicine, and then the other half they rotate for 6 months in these short blocks. So I started with psych. I think there was like 6 of us. Numbers reduced as well because asynchronous interns numbers go down when they leave, and they no longer take interns in any other cycle at Addington. It's just January, and then after that's it. Yeah, the asyncs, most of them, it was just finishing off the asyncs who came in July 2022. So those were leaving like halfway through this year, and then some asyncs were repeating blocks and whatnot. But yeah, otherwise, we don't get new interns halfway through the year. We don't get new interns in September. We don't get new interns in April. It's just January, and that's it. So, also another thing, they separated when we first came in, they separated Mahatma Gandhi and Addington. So, like, if you place at Addington, you're gonna work at Addington for the whole 2 years. You don't have to go to Gandhi. Um, so That's also a nice thing because I did not apply to Addington for that reason that I was gonna have to um rotate in Gandhi, and luckily they removed it. So yeah. I started with psych. It was only six of us, but it was a very manageable block. I feel like psych, the doctors there, they just understand mental health. So it was a very environment. They have a really good psychiatric departments here, even though it's small, but it's really great. They teach a lot. We had presentations every Wednesday. There was senior support calls. If you're doing psych, you do calls with family medicine interns because they didn't need an intern on call for psych. So you have to do trauma or casualty calls with family medicine interns. So you'd be part of that roster for calls. It was a lot of calls. Hours were not long, but the calls were a lot because I remember the average when we rotated there, it was 10 calls in 2 months because the rotation is 2 months. So basically 5 calls um per month for family medicine interns, including psych interns. Um, Psych did not have an assessment or something like that. You just have to do a presentation so that they give you like psychotic disorders, emergencies, all those things to present, and that's that. I don't think anybody has ever repeated that block, especially here, but I don't know. Maybe before, but like nobody in my group repeated that block. After that, we went on to anesthetics. Um, Anesthetics, the number of calls they dropped drastically. It was only short calls, you never had long. The longest call you do would be like 14 hours. I think that's the longest call you do, 14 hours in anesthetics. They were teaching a lot, like every day they're teaching every morning. You come in at like 7:15, they're teaching. Environment was very, I'd say a bit strict. Theater people, they are they're a bit tight in a way. So it was the type of environment where it's serious. It's just like you're there, you working. Even during cases, you're getting quizzed and asked questions. I guess it was great because we got to learn. We performed a lot of procedures in anesthetics because you have to you have to learn how to do GAs, and I'm not even going to say spinals because spinals are very easy, but like managing patients, putting them under and managing and reversing them as well. So surprisingly, that's where you do most of the heavy lifting in a way, the stuff that you thought you wouldn't have to do in internship, but like you do. Um, when you are when we're doing anesthetics, we would rotate in. So at Addington, there are four theaters, if I'm not mistaken. There's ops theater, surgery, autos, and emergencies. So it rotates there. And then another intern for ICU. But because we were short, ICU would be like a rare occurrence rotating there because in a normal day, you'd have an intern who is on pre-call. Pre-call, if you pre-call for anesthetics, you don't come in at all during the day. You only come in at 6 p.m. at night. And then you'd have an intern who's post call. That intern leaves at like 8 a.m. in the morning. So there'd be like only four interns on the floor. One of those interns would do a late stay. So late stay means you'd stay until 6 p.m. The other intern comes and then you don't come back the next morning because you're gonna be pre-call. So I really liked the hours, the environment, anesthetics. They really prioritized tea breaks and breaks. And when you're coming from first year, like in first year, nobody cares about whether you've taken lunch or not, because I mean, they do care, but like also they're giving you work. It's like, okay, you said I must go eat, but now like this long list of work, how am I gonna finish? So second year is where you were like, oh guys, like the grass really is green on the other side. And then I went on to do autos. Although it was very nice, I've enjoyed it the most so far in second year because of it being practical. In autos, you see it, you fix it. Um, if you can't fix it, you send it somewhere else for other people to fix. Like it was very straightforward. There were teaching morning meetings. You'd have to present every morning when you post call the cases from your call, and then the person who's allocated to trauma during the day presents their cases as well the next morning. Um, it was very chilled, very calm. You'd really ever get into trouble there because it, it was just a nice blog. The seniors were very helpful. If you don't know how to do something, they come and show you so that you can do it yourself next time. Like it was just, it was, I think it was a very calm blog because, um, I mean, nobody ever dies there. Like they rarely die, patients there, because it's such a small number of patients. They're closely managed. Also, they're only there for like broken bones and stuff. So it wasn't anything hectic. Now I'm doing family medicine. I started in July. In family medicine, you rotate. Also, for family medicine, you do family medicine here for 4 months here and 2 months at Osindisweni. Osindisweni is like a small district hospital in Verulam. I haven't been there. I don't know how things work there, but you rotate there. Puja is there currently. Maybe she can share her experience so far. But you rotate there for 2 months. And then the other 2 months you are here. So you keep on just rotating amongst the three groups. So when you hear from here at Addington for family medicine, you are needed, they divide you into three groups. So the other group goes to polyclinic. Polyclinic is like outpatient departments, like everything that the local clinic around couldn't manage, they refer to polyclinic. Polyclinic, that's where we mostly discuss with the other specialties like orthos, medicine, gynae, all those things. It's like a day clinic, knocking in at 8, leaving at 4 p.m. If you're in polyclinic on Wednesdays, they need an intern to go to Beatrice Street Clinic. It's located by YMCA in town. There's a clinic there called Beatrice Street. So on Wednesdays, they need a doctor to come in at 8 and leave at 12. So we mostly put a person who's pre-call to go there and not come back, only come back at nights for their calls. And then you also rotate in casualty. Oh, sorry. Also, if you're in poly, during the morning, they need one intern to go to Gateway Clinic as well at Addington for to cover 2 hours to come in, see patients from 8 to 10, and then you go back to polyclinic. If you have a patient you see in Gateway, you think needs polyclinic, you literally take that patient and you walk to polyclinic and finish your work. Um, but like otherwise, these clinics I'm talking about, the nurses, they're like literally on autopilot. The sisters there, they manage DKAs, all those emergencies before they refer. They are like very sharp. They don't even need a doctor to be there, honestly, just there to like renew the scripts and everything because there are medications the nurses can't prescribe in that level. And then the other group rotates in trauma and casualty. If you're in trauma or casualty, you get in at 10 a.m. in the morning. No, your normal working day is 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. at night. Um, 10 a.m., 7 p.m. at night. And then the intern on call comes in at 8 a.m. And then they go home on pre-call at 12 and come back at 5 p.m. So like from 5, there's this 2 hours where you are overlapping, you're handing over, you're discussing, you're tracing results, all those things to make sure that when you leave, when you knock off at 7, there's less work for the people for the people who are gonna be on call. And then it's the same story for trauma as well. Trauma knocking in at 10, knock off at 7. The call hours are the same. Um yeah. In family medicine, there's not a lot of teaching. You just learn as you are doing things, especially in casualty, mostly and trauma. Because clinics are very mind numbing. Like clinics, you're doing the same thing. It just is the same old diabetic patients and whatnot. It is so boring. Um, but trauma and casualty, that's where like you actually see the MIs coming in, all those things. Even in trauma, you do a lot of procedures there, but mostly you stage like a lot because people in town, one thing about them, they will step each other. And there's surprisingly a lot of MVAs here, even though I've never seen a car flipped over here in town, but like we get a lot of those. Um, Namapara, we get a lot of Amapara because they stay here in the city. Addington has a very um the catchment area is it's a very interesting demographics. Patients that come here because you get a lot of undocumented immigrants coming in as well. Sometimes they come with very unique problems, which is nice because you get to see like some of the interesting stuffs. And then you get Amapara. And I mean, it's unpleasant to be stuck with this person. You know that you're gonna treat and they're gonna be fine and leave, go to the streets, they're gonna come back complicated or worse, or even die on arrival. So it's very interesting, but it's nice. Like one thing I can say about this hospital, I can like the teaching moderates. They do teach. You do um a lot of things here because you're not competing with the registrars for like skills and stuff. Some places, some people don't even do CVPs because they're like the registrars need to fill their logbooks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They just sign for you. Some places they don't even finish their Caesars. I think they only do like two Caesars, and then the doctors are like, "Oh, we'll just sign for you guys." Yada, 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 yada. But here you actually do like a lot of things.
Okay.
So you don't have to, yeah, sorry.
No, 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 it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Shange. Because of time, I do want us to kind of cover all of the talking points. And so we will also have a question session like afterwards. The next point that we would like to talk about is living arrangement, neighborhood, area, DQs, those kinds of things. And I wanted, I'm not sure between you and Dr. Singh, if either of you have a DQ experience that you can share.
Mm. So I stay in DQ. I think Pujata is staying off the south. So I stay here in DQ. They there's three living arrangements by the hospital. There's nurses' home. There's the DQ, the main DQ, and then there's another DQ called South Lee. It's next to the police station down the road. So usually DQ and South Lee, DQ mostly it prioritizes um salary. DQ prioritizes the people who have been here longest, like the second years and stuff. Like if you first come in Jan, like you get it by luck, the DQ.
Mhm.
But I got it because I literally just me and some of my colleagues, we got it because after our orientation on the 30th of December, we're like, well, we don't have anywhere else to go, so give us rooms.
Mm.
So they gave us rooms at the nurse's home for us to wait for people to move out of DQ so that we can go into DQ.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what is the arrangement like in terms of sharing? How many people share the space? How like close is it to the hospital and the
Yeah.
other hospitals? I mean, the other clinics and hospitals that you're expected to go to.
So, all the DQs here at Addington, they're here. They're not inside the hospital. All the nurses' home is like inside the hospital. Nurses' home is like rest, like you've been to Grays and stuff. Like it's just it looks like Grace Hospital. It's very small. The rooms are like probably smaller than the Helia rooms, so that's why I didn't want to stay there to begin with. So that is inside the hospital, and then the DQ is literally the road behind Errington Prince Street. It's across the hospital. You literally cross the road
Mm.
and go into the staff gate. It's opposite. Like I can see the hospital from here right now. So it's very close. That's where I stay currently. There is parking inside DQ. It's gated. There's a security guard as well. Parking is like 25 rands per year. It's not hectic. It gets full during the day because some of the day staff from hospital they park inside here. So it gets annoying if you don't have parking and there are like people who don't stay here who are parked here. But parking is a big issue at Addington because it's in the city. And then the other DQ, it's next to the police station, still very close. It's not even a 2 minute, it's not even a 5 minute walk. So it's not hectic. So everybody stays here. And another thing, this DQ, we're sharing it with Gandhi Prixley interns as well. So they drive from here every morning to Gandhi and they come back. Even when you're rotating at Osindisweni, you still stay here. The hospital does provide transport for that. They take you there and they bring you back. What else did you ask? Living arrangements.
Mm.
Oh,
And
so in DQ, it's 8 floors. The first 2 floors, they're sharing rooms. It's like 2 bedroom flats in a way, but like 2 bedroom because they convert the lounge into another bedroom.
mm.
Those have a bathroom inside and a kitchen inside. And then from third floor to eighth floor, it's single rooms. Um, those do not have kitchens. Um, they're like studio apartments ish in a way, but they don't have kitchen. It's like a bedroom area and a lounge area. And then there's a sink. So like you just have to make your own bed, and then the shower is outside. There's like 3 showers for 6 rooms. Per floor, it's 6 rooms, and they have 3 showers and a bathtub and 2 toilets. It's not ideal, but it works. At least we have showers, then the bathtubs downstairs. And then at South Lee, they have a better living arrangement. They're all single rooms. They have a shower inside. And I think they have like some kitchenette situation as well for that kitchen area. But the problem is South Lee does not have parking at all. People park here in our DQ or they park outside the building. And that is not safe in South Beach, especially, if you drive like a Polo and stuff, those VW cars.
Mm.
So like unless it's not a safe arrangement. But like I guess it's working for them because some people do park outside there. DQ, I think it's probably the same price everywhere. It's like 900 rands or 950 that they debit. They don't even debit it. Like PaySal takes it. You don't even see it. You only see it on the pay slip. Um, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Shange. Before moving to the next question, Dr. Singh, is there anything pressing that you'd like to add to that?
Oh, I don't stay at DQ, so Dr. Shange has
Yeah.
it all covered.
Okay. So the next question that we're going to move on to is the burning question, which is salary. So how much is it before and after tax? Are there allowances that they give? That kind of thing. You
So
can.
the previous doctor, he had it very nicely on the presentation. I think the only thing we don't have is the rent allowance. So we
Mm-hmm.
still get, if you don't take the pension and all of these other things, it's 49,900 and something. At your 2 months at Osindisweni, you get a rural allowance and that bumps up your salary to 52,000 and something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the rest of your
Mm.
time at Addington, it's the standard 49,900 something after tax.
Okay. Okay. Good to know. Good numbers. Um, um, and sorry. The last thing that well, at this point,
Wait,
is there
sorry,
anything specific that you want
sorry,
to? Yes, please go ahead.
Before you continue, on this salary thing, so hers is 49 point something because she does not stay in DQ.
Mhm.
So and sometimes, sometimes they don't take the DQ rent for like 2 months, and then they take for 2 months after. So like it fluctuates. For us, it fluctuates between 47 and like 48 point something, depending on how they're taking the rent that month. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
that's what I wanted to add.
Okay. Thank you. That makes a lot things clearer. So we do have questions that were sent back to ask, and then after that we will open the floor for more questions. So the first question or the first thing that we would like to, just for you to um kind of elaborate more on the clinical exposure part. I know that you had mentioned that it's kind of like, like a lot of ward work, but is it just the ward work and pushing paper, or do you actually do get like some procedures, and do you feel as though you would be competent for ComServe and a doctor moving forward?
So there's certain departments where the bulk of the work that you're doing is paper pushing. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's standard across almost every hospital in certain departments that is how it's done. Obs and gynae, anesthetics, even small procedures in surgery, incision and drainage, and that kind of thing. We have exposure to all of those things. In casualty and trauma, in trauma, you inserting chest drains, you inserting CVPs. So you have a good amount of exposure for what would make you competent for ComServe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you for that. And then the next question um, is based off of the assessments that you had mentioned. So are there exams really? Because I heard that there was a mention of like assessment and stuff like that. Well, how do those really work?
So in orthopedics, not every group had this, but most groups write an MCQ exam. So it's a 20 mark thing, and it covers the basics of orthopedics, stuff that you should have come across in common infections, that kind of thing. The other block that is heavy on examination is anesthetics. They have a written exam, a spinal exam, and a general anesthetic prac exam. The other blocks, peds, it was a presentation. Internal medicine, it was a presentation.
Okay, thank you.
The exam for anesthetics, by the way, it's a 80% pass rate for all the three exams. So if you do not pass, if you don't get like 80%, you have to repeat the test again, probably like the following week. I don't know what happens if you fail the second one. But yeah.
Okay. The next is on competition of placements. What was Addington on your guys'?
So I think it's very little competition. Addington chose the both of us. We did not choose Addington. We were just selected to go there. I've spoken to a lot of interns, and a lot of interns didn't even put it at any of their choices. Um, so I think if you put it down, you probably
He's
gonna get
definitely
it.
gonna go.
You're gonna get it.
Okay. And knowing that KZN is majority Zulu speaking, would you say that somebody who has no Zulu background whatsoever would be able to survive?
Yeah, there's a lot of other Zulu speakers. There's other interns who speak Zulu. There's nurses who speak Zulu. I think it's definitely fine. Also, a lot of the patients speak some amount of English.
Mm-hmm.
We and the ones who don't speak English, they also foreign, so nobody speaks the language. And then you make friends with Google Translate.
Okay. The next is on how would you say the work-life balance is? How would you say generally your mental health has been? Would it be something like a hospital that you would advise for, like in terms of mental health reasons? Do you think that will be
I'm
fine?
very, I'm very happy here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even Shange is quite happy here.
Yeah,
unexpectedly
I
so.
would like as she has said, neither of us chose this. We did not want to come here. I don't even think anybody in my campus, in my class, put Addington down.
Mm.
I really do not think so. But like knowing what I know now and how it has treated me, somebody asked about mental health as well. I
Mhm.
have had zero to no mental breakdowns. It is just not like the work environment is really great. Almost everybody is friendly here. Like if you know it, I would not highly. I still think there are better places than this one, honestly. Mainly because of the setting of this hospital, not because of the things that happen here, but because of where it's at and the demographic it attracts. I would like not recommend it for that reason, but like otherwise, like you have a good work, you get a good work balance type of situation because everybody here in some departments the doctors like going taking interns out or like going out with the interns. Like here you become friends with MOs, which doesn't happen mostly in the other hospitals. And we're also like a small number of interns. So it's like a group that knows everybody and is cool with everybody and it just works. And you stay in the city. Like you can knock off at work, still make time to go to the mall. Go to the movies, go shopping, go clubbing. The place is nice. Like the situation, the way it's situated, I think it's nice for that reason that everything is around. You don't even need to buy a car early, unless you really want a car. But like you don't need to buy a car early. There's Uber, everybody delivers everything here. It's very it works. It works. Because I mean people who have rural allowance they most spend it by coming to Durban and experiencing these things we experience every day. So I'm telling you, ask them how much an Uber from Mshini is to come to Groove in the city. Probably like 300 rands when it's late. So it's that you spend more money coming this side anyways. So it's a double-edged sword.
Okay, thank you for that. And just speaking on the area specifically, would you say that it's a safe area?
It's not. Um, I mean, we all know Durban Point is not safe. Luckily, I haven't been mugged or something like that. But like this one time, I was parked in town, and then I came back. My windscreen was smashed. I think there was like a fight around, and
Oh.
then my car was collateral. So
Mm.
like this area is generally like not safe. But like I know my roads. I go to work. I come back from work. I come to DQ. If I'm not at DQ, I'm not around here at all. I'm like in other places. So I mean, I guess it depends. But like some people, I don't know anybody here who's gotten mugged, but people get mugged a lot in town. We all know. So it's generally not safe, I would say.
Okay, thank you. So, before we open the floor for questions, I'm going to go through the chat and then take hands. But before that, I would just like to ask, starting with you, Dr. Singh, what would you rate Addington Hospital?
I'd give it a good 9 out of 10. I've
Mm-hmm.
been very happy. I've had mostly positive experiences in my rotation, but internship, of course, you're going to have uh, a negative experience here and there. Internal medicine, I think, is tough for everybody
Mm-hmm.
um, across all hospitals. So I think that was a very difficult block for me. But now that it's over, I don't feel the same way about it as I did when I was in it. Now I can look back on it and look at it as a time of growth rather than, oh, I was miserable the entire time. Every other block, I've not been as challenged.
Mm-hmm.
Obs and gynae, I think it was just hours wise and just the frequency of calls. But otherwise, it's been okay.
Okay. And Dr. Shange?
Can you repeat the question, Shame?
It's okay. what the question was, what would you rate your experience?
Oh, grades. I mean, I did mention that knowing what I know now, I would like put it down at least as like my fifth choice or something. Okay, maybe like second or third.
Mm-hmm.
I'd probably put it like a second or third because like it's great. Like I mean, everywhere. I mean, work. It's not nice having to work every day. Anybody can tell you, like, yo, you get tired. Um, you get tired with calls as well. But like I hear horror stories about where other people work. Can I just say I've only had two calls where I did not sleep at all. One of them was surgery. It was very busy that night with gunshots and everything. And another one, it was obs and gynae. Um, and we had chosen not to sleep because we wanted to finish the round in 7A in postnatal so that we can get to go home early. So we voluntarily chose to stay up. Those are the only two calls. Um, so like it's not even that busy. When it's busy, it's like, oh my god, I only got like 2 hours of sleep. That's when you're like, oh my god, it was so busy. But like in general, an average of 4 hours of sleep when you're on call, depending on the rotation you're doing. And if you're doing blocks like family medicine, you are guaranteed that break, almost guaranteed that break. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much for your reviews. So going into questions now, there are a couple of questions that I would like to go through in the chat. But a couple have been covered already, like salary, mental health, relationship with doctors seem to be great as well. There is a that says any negative or bad experiences or things you dislike about being at Addington, work, life, work, living, social environment, etc.
Um,
Oh, go ahead.
okay, so for me, I think there's always an adjustment period
Mm-hmm.
when you're starting at a place. I think initially there was some stuff that I didn't like was so unlike a lot of other places, when you finish at 4, you finish at 4. You can actually finish earlier. Your post calls are at 8, unless it's maternity, unless you're in obs and gynae, which finishes at 12. You actually have a fairly good life. I think something that I didn't like, I wish there was a little bit more teaching on the internal medicine side. Um, I feel like that was something that we missed out on, but I also think that's something that's universal across most hospitals.
Yes.
There's just no time.
Okay.
Mm.
Dr. Shange?
I think what I haven't liked mostly, it is especially in first year, it was just the hours we were doing. And they were just ridiculous. Like I remember at some points we were pushing like 130 hours per month of overtime. I think we did even go up to 140. Like it was just bad. It was
Mm.
bad, especially obs and gynae, and then followed by peds. Like it was so horrible. We're just not coping. But it's what I do not like. As Pooja has said as well, teaching. It was a bit scanty in internal medicine. It really was. And I mean, like, what else also can you do? Because this department is just like making investigations, a long list of investigations. There's sometimes you just like, but also negative experiences. I have not, surprisingly, considering the demographic that we're serving here, I've not experienced that much racism. Like I haven't experienced racism here at all. I would like to say, yeah, even homophobia. Eddington, you see, like Eddington is very gay. Like half the emos are gay here. I'm joking, but like, but like it's very everyone here is open-minded. Like nobody clogs you for how you dress, how you present yourself, how you talk. How I literally have a friend. They told him in internal medicine where he's working, there was like he talks a lot. He has like too much self-confidence. Like we are zero or something like that. Like it's something that did not affect his work at all because I know he has a good work ethic. Um, but like just because it's a very he's in the rural, the place is very like people are like upside minded. It's we don't
Yeah.
have those problems here. We don't. Like our only problems is language barrier. That's the
Okay.
only problem we have. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Um, so I'm just gonna go through the others and then we can come back to the what is around the area question. So the next question is the DQ furnished?
No.
Okay. um, okay.
There's literally
Um,
like you find like a chair and a table, like a small chair and a small table. It's something that was used in the hospital like 15 years ago. Now they're just putting it here so that it's like it doesn't look embarrassing.
see.
But like they are not furnished at all.
Okay. And would you say because of the small number of interns, your core hours were longer than other hospitals and unmanageable?
I think it depends on the block. So the issue with the obs and gynae, where people were doing 24 hours calls, that's when they cut it down and they started making the gynae call finish at midnight. Then that drastically cut the hours down.
Mm.
I think it depended on the block. So peds, we were doing one on call a night, so that wasn't too bad. We still had 2 weekends off in the month, and that was how it was for most blocks. You one
Mm.
on call unless it's Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and then you 2 weekends off. So it's actually not been unmanageable. Even the casualty calls, you're doing 5 a month on average, sometimes six,
Mm-hmm.
depending on whether or not you've gone on leave or you've got been the unlucky one to get the odd Sunday to work. It's been fine. I don't think it's unmanageable. But I also think it depends on who's making your roster and just asking for fairness and how many
Okay.
requests are made. Yeah.
See. Right. Thank you. And then there's a question of can I just clarify something that was said earlier about Rahima Musa Hospital? Is it still part of the complex or rotation, or did you say that's no longer part of it?
I think we were referring to Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi Hospital.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing about I don't know anything about Raima Musa. We were talking about Mahatma Gandhi and Pixley Hospital.
Mm.
So now Addington has separated, and we just do the 2 months at Osindusweni. We no longer go to Gandhi and have Gandhi interns come to us.
Okay. And then there was a question about, I know it's in Durban, but may you please tell us about areas of recreation, malls, availability of transport, etc. I do think that that one was covered. And as somebody who's from Durban, I can just let you know that everything that you need is within the area. Absolutely everything. It's very close to the malls. The Uber services are good. There's public transport. It just is like it's very near town as well. Town has everything. So um, so you will definitely be able to get a hold of everything that you need. And we'll be able to get to other nice places around as well. So I would just like to ask if there are any other questions that anybody has. I see that Dango has their hand up.
Yes, I don't know if you can hear me. Thank you
Yes, we
so much
can.
for the information, Dr. Singh and Dr. Shange. I wanted to ask if you are able to pick when you want to be on leave. Are they quite strict around that? And then, Dr. Shange, you mentioned that you feel like there are better places. You would still make this place like number 5 or something. Where, where, where in Durban or KZN would you say like are better places?
So, your first question about leave. Generally, HR they release leave slots. They release leave slots for the first years, how they're gonna be, and then they release leave slots for the second years. But for the second years, there are leave slots for the short blocks and then for family medicine. So in first year, you do like as a group, like the group rep shares the leave slots, and then you guys pick it. It's a first come first serve type of basis. So you do get to choose when you're going to leave. But like if you have like something so important that you wanna you know, you want to like sort of customize your leave to your needs, you can go to HR and ask the HR lady. She's very nice, very approachable, easy to talk to. You can ask her, here's the thing, this is what's gonna be happening. I wanna split my leave in two, or like I wanna go from like a Wednesday to like the next Wednesday and not do like a full week. In that type of thing. You can still, as long as it's not gonna affect your guys' group a lot, because once somebody goes on leave, the group suffers a little bit because it's like one less person. There's people post call, so like because you're short, so you can work around the leave slots. Yeah, they give you the set leave slots, which make it easier for everybody, so that they see where they can fit their plans at. You also get the weekend before your leave and the weekend after your leave, if the person who's doing the roster for your group is fair. Yeah. And then I did not want to come here because I wanted to go to either Potchefstroom or Ladysmith. People in Ladysmith are having a really great time. Um, Mpumalanga, Themba had put, but I'm thinking now, like, no ways, after everything that has happened this year with that hospital. So, like, I wouldn't put that again. And then in Gauteng, I would have loved to go to, like, Helen Joseph or something. Yeah, I still believe there's life outside of KZN. And that's where I would have went, like Helen Joseph, Lady Smith in KZN, nothing else in Durban, literally nothing else. Eddington is the only thing I would have chosen here. And then Potchefstroom.
Thank you, Dr. Shange. Siyabonga.
Okay, hi everyone. I just wanted to ask regarding the overtime thingy, if you get compensated for working overtime or is it part of the package?
It's part
Like
of the
of being an
package. It
intern.
is capped. It's part of the package and it's capped, and it's part of the 49,900 and something. It's standard for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem.
But we
Right.
don't get compensated for the overtime that we do. She literally told us on the orientation that like you are going to work, just take it as experience.
Yeah.
So
Oh, you can't buy experience, apparently.
yeah.
Are there any other questions? Anybody else who wants to ask a burning question before we close? Going once, going twice. Raise your
I
hand.
was, I was
Hold your peace.
curious. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
curious to know if any of you have seen on the application, is Addington still part of the Gandhi complex?
I am not sure. Yeah, that's
No,
not.
it's fine.
I'm not sure of that, unfortunately. But I can get that information to you at a
That's
different point.
fine.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Singh and Dr. Shange, for your time and for the pearls of wisdom that you have bestowed upon us. And you have really given us some very insightful information that we'll be able to use moving forward. So thank you very much. And thank you to everybody who attended, and we will see you in our next session. Thank you.
Thank you. All
Bye.
the best.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
How do I end this thing? Oh.